Hello, welcome back to our channel, Making Money Manageable with Alan Dembski and Juliana Jansen from Buffalo First Wealth Management. We are in the midst of tax season right now, and we thought we would do a video on which is better, getting a large refund, breaking even, and nobody likes to owe, but some people do owe based on their activities throughout the year. If you enjoy financial content, please like, follow, and share our channels, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook.
So one of the first questions that people ask when they're trying to figure out whether it makes sense to have a refund, some people just like the idea of having a big check coming once a year. And even though in general, we recommend not to get a big refund, there are certain types of people that really aren't good savers where this is sort of the only way that they can force themselves to save is to get a larger refund. If that is you, then that's one instance where it might make sense to get a larger refund because then you get this big pot of money all at once and you can pay down debt. You can start an emergency fund. Those are good reasons to get a large refund. Although in a perfect world, we would be getting that money with each paycheck and you would be paying your debt down as it was happening so that you weren't incurring as much debt. But we understand everybody saves differently and everybody manages money differently. So that might be one instance where it makes sense to get the larger refund.
Yeah, and I think if on the flip side of that, if you owe money to the government, which nobody likes to do, but some people don't realize that there's penalties associated with when you owe money to the government. It's usually on the bottom of your 1040 of what you owe. Some are little and some are bigger. But just take a look at that because you don't want to owe the government plus penalty because you underpaid throughout the year. So some of the things that you can do to help combat that, the main thing is if you're a W-2 employee, is filling out a new W-4 form. And a new W-4 form is through your payroll. You submit it, you fill it out and submit it. But there are a few tricks to that W-4 form. The biggest one is, does your spouse work? Because if your spouse works, you have to make sure that you're coordinating the two together. So one isn't under withholding and one is over withholding, because that's generally where, depending on who's the higher income earner, that could really throw off your balance as well when you're looking at the end of the year tax balance.
Or if you have gig income in addition to your regular job, that might, the companies, when they are doing the withholding, are doing it in a vacuum. They only know what you're telling them. So they just assume, oh, this is the only income that this person is making. They must be in a very low tax bracket. Say you're making, $5,000 or $4,000 a year. They're only going to take out taxes as if that was all you were going to make. So you're really not going to be getting not much taken out of your check in those instances at all. So that's definitely something that can be handled through the W-4 form as well.
Yeah, and don't forget, when you do have side gig and you're generating that 1099, you're paying the company's other half of Social Security and Medicare. So your additional 7.5% being taxed because you have to make up that difference from the gig work that you're doing.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you keep your W-4 updated. So if you've gotten married, if you've gotten divorced, if you've had a baby, or on the flip side, if your kids are no longer going to be dependents, those are all instances where you want to go back and redo your W-4, even if your income coming in has stayed about the same, because those are definitely going to change the taxes that you pay. So those are all instances where it needs to be revisited.
Yeah, and the W-4 form on the last page, it'll tell you if you're filing married, what additional holdings you need to withhold on your paycheck. And you can also add on there on your W-4 form how much extra you want to withhold each pay period. So if you get paid bi-weekly and you want to withhold an extra $50, you can put that on that form if you're really not sure what to do and you owed money from the previous year.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that even though I think so many people, by the time they file their taxes, they're so done with thinking about taxes, this is actually a really good time to look at this stuff because you still have a good part of the rest of the year to make the changes. So don't just put your return in the drawer and forget about it.
Yeah, and especially even if you're getting a refund or you owe, going through your tax return and understanding how those numbers were generated and where they came from. Some people might be withholding in the specific bracket that they're supposed to be, But once you get to the child tax credit, if you got kids, or the one big beautiful bill added in some extra deductions, that could be throwing you off as well as you start planning and understanding not only this year, but next 2 to 3 years, how that's going to impact everything.
Yeah, all good things to think about now while it's all fresh in our mind.
Right. And just to let you know, when you do that big refund, you are loaning the government money and getting no interest on your money. So trying to figure that out, me personally, I always tell my clients, if you're $1,000 owing or getting a refund, you're pretty much in that break even, because each year you can swing from positive to negative or negative to positive. But if you're over that $1,000 either owing, you really got to do something, or getting a big refund, you can make some adjustments throughout the year.
Definitely. So thanks for joining our channel. We look forward to seeing you next time on our next video. And as always, if you have any topics that you'd love for us to cover, please make a comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you.